So you've seen beachfront villas, you've seen branded residences, but real luxury in Dubai, what does that really mean? What is the definition of true luxury in Dubai? And it's not where most people think or what most people think. I'm talking about properties that you don't need to leave. You don't need to leave the building. You don't need to leave the area. Everything is there. From wellness, concierge, privacy, the service, the community, who you are rubbing shoulders with, it's all inclusive. And when you say luxury in Dubai, the first thing that pops to my mind is Bvlgari on Jumeirah Islands. You know, this kind of thing really, to me, defines what true luxury is. But we're seeing pockets of the same formula. And what I mean by that, you know, we're not just saying that the only luxury is in Bvlgari Island. No, not at all. You've got new emerging areas like City Walk, Design District. You've got existing areas like Marina where they're bringing specific buildings to these locations, like the Six Senses. You know, the Marina's not necessarily a luxury location by all means, but the Six Senses building really is. So in this video, I'm not comparing what luxury is, I'm defining what luxury is. So stay tuned, let's get into it. So there's a few main categories that I want to touch on, and the first one being privacy. Now, what do you think of when you think of privacy? You think no neighbors, no one being able to look inside, and you know, true ultimate privacy where you don't feel like you're intruded on by the outside. And I think that's what, if we look at what Dubai used to be like, very much people complained about the lack of privacy, especially if we look at the different residences, you know, even different villas, you know, maybe plot sizes, the way that neighbors can overlook. And now we're starting to see a shift in the way developers are actually building properties, because the types of clientele that are now entering this market, and if they're spending $5–10 million on a property, what's the one thing they want? They want privacy. They don't want to be disturbed. They don't want people to be able to see into their building. And that's what's most important. But not only just that, if we talk about density of building, you know, we're seeing some of these 5-star residence buildings being created with, let's say, 100 floors, packed in with 800 units. You know, and then we see the number of people per floor. For me, that's dressed up as a way to make a building look more luxury than what it is, but they're actually overcharging for I would say something that's not really true luxury. True luxury to me is maybe a building that's only got 4 residences or 2 residences per floor. You know, you don't want to be waiting for an elevator with someone who owns a studio if you own the penthouse. Think about that for a moment. And the next point, lifestyle integration. So when we talk about this, and there's one particular building I want to touch on, talk about the Six Senses Marina, because I was there today. There are 4 floors of amenities. Now, not just like pool, gym, showers, no. I'm talking, there's an entire floor for wellness and spa. We're talking hammam, we're talking jacuzzi, we're talking cold plunges, we're talking infrared saunas, we're talking steam rooms, relaxation rooms, salt treatment rooms, massage rooms. Now imagine that's just on one floor. Then imagine you've got one floor that's dedicated to sports and wellness. So you've got different types of gym facilities all on one floor. And then one floor is specifically dedicated to medical application. Now imagine this, you're in the Six Senses residences, one of the most luxurious brands in the world. You go down 30 floors, you go into your cryotherapy, and then after that you go and do some sound healing. And then you might decide, well, let's hit the gym. Or maybe you did the gym before. But then, you know, you feel like you've done a full entire day, okay, without leaving your building. And of course, these branded residences come with elite service. So you call up your butler from downstairs and you say, hey, listen, I was wondering if you could just pick me up some lunch, or maybe I need my dry cleaning doing, or maybe I need my house cleaning, or maybe you call for the private chef because you've got, let's say, 20 guests coming round and you want to do a little party. Now, all of this is included in there. Now, imagine this. In this level of luxury, this is the part of the lifestyle integration that a lot of people think they're getting, but they're not. And this is where we get into the service model of things. We're talking hotel lifestyle in residential. You see, for so many years, people have came to Dubai and they've just associated, you know, the best hotels in the world, the Burj Al Arab, the Royal Atlantis, all these kinds of places where you get elite service. But it's only recently that we're starting to see this integrated into residences, because it's not just people coming on holiday anymore, it's people to live. So if you combine the two, they saw that gap. People want this elite level service, but they want it on a daily basis. The next point I want to touch on is design logic. And as you may have seen on my YouTube channel, we focus very much on renovations and we look at floor plans and how we can manipulate space to make it look better. And before we ever, you know, go and sell something to somebody who's looking for something of that luxurious caliber, we need to understand the floor plan. Is it open plan? How tall are the ceilings? Are there features integrated into the property that make sense? You know, what's the point of having a 2-bedroom, you know, without 2 bedrooms having an ensuite? Because we've seen this. We've seen 2 bedrooms and one of them not be an ensuite. That's not luxury at all, because that means your guests need to share the same bathroom as that second person who lives in the house. So all of these little details matter. And when you actually understand that concept of luxury, that's when it starts to click and you realize what it's actually defined as in Dubai. And the last point I want to touch at, community. Now imagine you live in a building where each unit is valued at, let's say, 10 million dirhams and above. You're not going to be rubbing shoulders with somebody who owns a studio, who's Airbnb-ing it out just to make a bit of extra cash. No, you're going to be rubbing shoulders with the elite. And I think that's one important factor that we've seen, especially when these buildings are integrating members clubs, executive lounges for the members only. You know, this is a place where CEOs of different companies can connect on a deeper level. Why? Because they live in the same building. And you'd be surprised how much business is done when you are in that relaxed environment. Now moving on, let's talk about the Bvlgari. It's a proven blueprint. Standalone beachfront villas, there's only less than 10. With a recent sale of 156 million dirhams, imagine that, for a beachfront villa. With a record-breaking sale of over 10,000 dirhams per square foot, you've got Hermes furniture, you've got private cinema, Steinway pianos. You know, that's not even to go into detail about the materials that are used in this place, because of course they're going to be phenomenal. But why would someone pay that much? Scarcity, privacy, exclusivity. You know what? They're not the best houses in Dubai, by all means. No, but you're paying for the name, you're paying for the location, you're paying for the exclusivity, and that is hard to come by. You're not falling into the masses of everything else. It's not just a home, it's a trophy asset. It's capital preservation. It's future-proof. Because with so little inventory in the market, you imagine, you've got even the Palm Jumeirah, you've got hundreds of villas. Yes, they may seem exclusive because you're living on the Palm Jumeirah, but you've got this beachfront access, but there are hundreds of others like that. Now imagine you own one of the units and there's less than 10, and on the entire island, you're one of 10 people that own that property. Do you know how many people would love to just come in and take that space? And sometimes it's not because they even want to live there, it's because they want that trophy asset. It's like owning a property in the Burj Khalifa. Your return on investment is incredibly low when it comes to rental yield. Why? Because the service charges are so high. Now, although I don't class Burj Khalifa as ultra luxury, it's still a very luxury building. But your return on investment might be less than 3%. So you wonder, why would people buy that? It's because they say to their friends, I own a property in the Burj Khalifa. And the same concept and logic applies when you own a villa on the Bvlgari island. Of course, you might not have 150 million dirhams to spend and you want to get into the market and you're sort of thinking, well, which areas can I enter this segment and which developers should I be buying from? Now, there are a couple of developers and locations that spring to mind, but I'm going to mention two of them, and I'm sure you're familiar with at least one of them. The first one is the Dubai International Financial Centre, also known as DIFC. We recently saw some extremely high-end residences launch over in this location, one particular one by H&H. This developer have been building and cultivating some of the best properties and pieces of real estate in the market. Four Seasons Residences, Eden House, Eden Park, Eden on the Canal. All of these properties are considered super high-end residences, okay? And now you get the opportunity to go and buy into Dubai International Financial Centre and actually own a piece of that real estate. And the other location that springs to mind is the Dubai Waterfront Canal. Okay, you've got the Mr. C residences, you've also got the Four Seasons, as I just mentioned. You know, H&H are building multiple residences there. And then you've also got a few others, but again, all the starting prices are well above 20 million in the more luxury end, and then sort of starting from 5 million on the lower end, but still considered high-end luxury. And moving on from those different locations, I did want to go back to what I was talking about before, about the Six Senses in the marina. As I said, the marina is not considered an ultra-premium location by all means. But again, imagine this one particular building which offers an elite level of service and no other of those 100 buildings offers it. What do you think is going to happen? The people that can afford to live there are going to be buying into it because of the brand, the Six Senses. And it's not just that, it's not dressing up a car brand where we see Mercedes-Benz Tower or a Bugatti building, which I'm not going to say respectfully they're going to be great. I personally think they might be all right. But they've got no sort of track record of delivering hospitality. When you think of hospitality, you think of Dorchester Collection by Omnia, or you think of the Six Senses. So what we have to define is, have these actually got a track record of delivering hospitality and service? Because although they might look good from the outside as branded buildings, do they actually deliver the service that people are going to want? And that's why I say sometimes it's not just about the location, it's about what you are buying into. Like I say, the Six Senses in the marina, where you can still buy a 4-bedroom for 10 million dirhams on a 30/70 payment plan. That's insane. So how do you choose the right one? Well, listen, the market is flooded with different products and it's very overwhelming. That's why when we're working with our investors or end users, again, we're not always talking about this from an investor point of view. We talk about this from if you want to live there yourself. We identify what you actually want. Do you want that elite level of service? Do you want the floor plan space? Do you want to have, access to some of the best facilities, any of the buildings that are offered in Dubai? And what we do, we break this down for you from step by step. Okay, you want this, you don't like this is the kind of preference that you want. And then that's from an end user point of view. And from an investor point of view, we see, well, how much money can we actually make? So what we invest in versus what we get out. What kind of rental yields would we be generating? And then we look at branded residence. Are they actually worth it for you from an investment point of view? And these are all the things that we do when we build strategies with clients long term. So what defines true luxury? In my opinion, and a majority of the market's opinion, privacy, exclusivity, floor plan space and layout, level of service of the building, amenities, hospitality, and the list goes on. And if you can tick all of those boxes, which, as I said, it's not the easiest to tick all those boxes, but when you do find a project like that, again, which we can help provide you with information on, then that's when you know you're getting true luxury. So if true luxury is something that you are looking for from an end user point of view or an investment point of view, then our entire team is dedicated to making sure we find the right products. Okay, we're not just going to send you anything. We do our full due diligence and research. We'll invite you down to the developer showroom. We'll showcase what kind of luxury they've already delivered and what they have planned. And only at that point, you will be the one that makes the decision. But we're confident we can help you every step of the way. And I look forward to meeting you. For any more information, just book a call below and I'll see you there.